out really well on his end.
All right, so we are ready for the draft in Game 1. Once again, it is GankStars Serious. They are coming out of the winner's bracket. That means they start with a 1-game advantage. So technically this is Game 2, but you haven't missed anything. There will be no Adagio, and there will be no Fortress.
So the Adagio pick coming out, they're making sure that there is no buff compositions, and preferably they're looking back at the yesterday when Gabe Vizza was playing that Roam Vox.
And it's very interesting. SoloMid, they got the choice. They chose to be Team B here. They decided to let GankStars Serious pick and ban first so that they could have 2 picks together. Does that mean they have a special comp plan for today?
Yeah, so coming out with this, they knew ahead of time that as long as we ban this Adagio, we pretty much negate a bunch of compositions that we think the Serious team can run. We're putting them onto more of their comfort picks. And by picking up this Vox ahead of time, we will be seeing Iraqi Zoro up in that lane.
And it is going to be an Arden and a Ringo. They look good on Ringo in this tournament.
Yeah, and the thing that we have to notice here is there was a couple of times yesterday when Mixi was playing that Ringo, he did get punished a lot, and that's something they have to really look out for. If they can get through that early game and try and snowball as much of it as they can, it doesn't give Vox a chance for that late game punishing.
But maybe Meek is also certainly capable of playing that Ringo. Has looked pretty good there. On the other side, GankStars Serious chooses Blackfeather.
So with this composition coming out of the GankStars Serious side, I feel like if they're able to get to that mid game, they have a great advantage. But I have a feeling here, Team SoloMid, Meek will most likely be playing that Ringo in that lane, and with Mixi in that jungle, I feel like they do have that early game presence, and they will try and initiate as much as they can.
Keep an eye on Rhyme in this game. For all the action, it is our casters, Forecourt Jester and Z-Kent.
Well, for a split second there, I was very curious to see if we were going to get another roaming Vox Z-Kent, but just at the last moment, a Catherine comes out. But a heck of a draft for our second technical game going into the semifinals.
Oh yeah, I would have loved to see another roaming Vox. However, they did not have the Adagio this time, and Adagio is going to be a seriously important pick in this series. It just fits so many team compositions for both of these teams.
All right, so no Adagio, no Fortress. I was curious to see who would actually get that Arden. And, well, coming into the semifinals, this is a matchup that we've been seeing repeatedly here in the North American qualifiers. The first one was these 2 teams into the finals, the second one into the finals. At this time, they meet in the semis.
Yeah, I'm very surprised. This is a matchup that I think most players expected to see in the finals, not the semis. And this time around, Mixi on that Rhyme, this is going to be really interesting to see.
All right, so Meek, they're into that lane. They talked a little bit about his Sky earlier, and he's definitely looked a little shaky today, but his Ringo has definitely been on point, and Mixi has really shown some really good colors into these last few games, over the last few days as well. So it's really hard to call this one, but there is, a little bit of a silver lining for GankStars Serious because they did come into this undefeated. They do got that 1-0, and we'll have to see if that mentality will help them to look for those wins.
Yeah, this is a little bit dangerous for us. GankStars Serious as Meek comes down.
Yeah, it's all 3 actually going deep into the jungle here, and Fuji, well, he just has nowhere to go, unfortunately. So a first blood for Team SoloMid with that 3-man rotation. It's not often you get to see really 3 dedicating to putting down Fuji.
Yeah, one of the great things about the Team SoloMid team composition is that they have such a powerful early game. They have the Rhyme, they have the Arden. Those 2 together are so hard to take down, and especially because Meek is going up against Iraqi Zoro's Vox, he is going to be able to pressure him in lane and rotate down as much as he wants.
All right, we're looking for those steals. Looks like one does actually go to Fuji. The other, maybe not so much, but Mixi and Flash, they're still super healthy on this one. Iraqi Zoro is going to come out from that lane as well, but Gabe, he's getting turned on. He's going to be dropping a little bit, and oh, good dodge there. Mixi's not going to get this kill, but he will eventually get that trade. Now Fuji, will he actually drop? Mixi's turning into a very powerful opponent here, and Fuji, if he's not careful, one more Spire might have been actually it, but again, we have seen Mixi and Rhyme a lot this weekend pulling out these plays.
Yeah, Mixi doing extremely well in that 2v1 situation. He was just zoning his opponents away. If Fuji approached just a little bit closer, he would have gone down, and right now, Meek has a lane pushing towards him, and it's going to deny the side GankStars Serious quite a bit of farm.
Man, it's just kind of dancing with the devil at this point. Fuji, is he going to actually look for this counter? Gabe Fizzle's coming into this one as well, but Mixi has drunk a few of those potions. He's not exactly in killable range, and, well, Fuji gets the damage, and then you see him just exit out. He does not want to get caught.
Yeah, it's really risky for Fuji to go in against that Rhyme. If the Chill Winds comes down, if Fuji gets rooted, he is going to go down extremely quickly. The Winter Spire from Rhyme just does so much damage early on.
So overall, 2 kills to the award. board, one of the backs, and you know, a little bit of momentum here for Team SoloMid. They are now leading in gold, but they're not going to be living out of the jungle for Sirius, at least for now. They are going to be keeping up some pressure, but they do have their own backs to farm out, so they're likely to be retreating. Irakizoro in lane. I mean, you see 3 up there. Could they actually pick up something for Cold-Meek?
Let's see. Irakizoro coming in, but you know, Cold-Meek just runs right back out as Flashix is there to support him.
We got the double crystal bit and an energizer for Mixie. He doesn't need help in that jungle. That's why Flash is going to be sitting here. He's also stacking that Iron Guard contract, getting some of those monies. And, well, in terms of that, I mean, you do like to keep an eye on them. Right now, they're pretty even.
Yeah, both these roamers doing extremely well at picking up that Iron Guard gold. However, right now, Cold-Meek, as soon as he hits level 6, I expect TSM to go for a power play, and they are definitely going to be out-leveling us at GankStars Sirius very early on.
Now, Irakizoro in lane, he did come down once, but he's kind of been left to his own devices. Look at the difference right now. Iraki's at 15 last hits compared to that of Cole, who's doubling.
Yeah, and this is really expected in this matchup because Team SoloMid has such an early game powerhouse team composition, GankStars Sirius is going to have to watch out.
Now, that was a steal right there. Gabe Vizzo and crew not actually going to be picking up that. Now, hit the backs. Victory and Flash, they get one, they get the other.
Very nice steal coming out from the side of Team SoloMid. However, they are in the middle of a fight right now. Mixie might be going down. He's extremely low. Fuji goes down first low. Mixie gets dropped. And right now, Flash X is just fighting Gabe Vizzo and Irakizoro on his own. Can he take down Gabe Vizzo? He does finish him off. Irakizoro is not even going to go try to finish him off.
Even with these trades, Team SoloMid still coming out far ahead because all that time, Ringo, he was able to get a little bit of farm. Now you can see he's going to steal out some of this jungle. And look at the gold difference. We went from like within 400 to now over 1,000 with not only the steals, but 2 kills to the Team SoloMid name.
However, one thing to watch out for is this is exactly how the early game should be playing out with these 2 team compositions. The moment GankStars Sirius gets to mid to late game, they're going to be extremely powerful. The Black Feather and the Vox can both dive onto Cold-Meek and explode him so quickly, and it will really be up to Mixie to peel for him.
Speaking of, Irakizoro actually still has quite a bit of cash in his pocket. He hasn't really left lane since, you know, well, all right, he comes in for some of these ganks, but, I mean, with those last hits, he does not exactly overflow with cash, but he needs to get a shopping spree in.
Yeah, he definitely has to go by very soon. Right now, he is just no help to his team whatsoever as TSM invades the jungle once again.
And they're just trying to live out of it, and so far it's not really been too shabby to them. They have picked up a little bit of a gold lead. Irakizoro is still refusing to leave that lane, but Fuji and Gabe, they're going to go a little bit wandering. They are going to find Flash. Now, where's the rhyme? He's not exactly close, but here he comes in, and Cold-Meek, if they don't know that he's missing, and they do now, he's going to be part of this one, and Fuji's the big focus target. Look at that crit! Fuji has nowhere to go.
Yeah, right there, Mixie was level 6. He had the Valkyrie. He did not even need to use it. And right now, Team SoloMid has such a big power spike against GankStars Sirius.
Gabe Viz is level 3, and he's about to find a 4, 5, and 6 opponent. They're going right under this turret. And Flash, yeah, they're really going to go for this one. He's going to take up another shot. He's going to now have to exit that scene, but it's not going to be a kill. The GankStar crew are able to retreat very tactically and very well, but a lot of this pressure, you notice, is on their side of the map.
Yeah, and right now it's really up to Team SoloMid to continue pushing their advantage. Right now, they are able to live outside the jungle of GankStars Sirius, and as long as GankStars Sirius is able to get a little bit farm for themselves and not fall too far behind, they still have a very solid chance in this match.
All right, so they're trying to push up this lane. There's actually nobody there to contest them. Flash is going to come round, at the very least, to pick up the experience. It's actually Ringo now off doing the backs, and Rhyme had already now stolen out the other side of the jungle there. For GankStars doesn't really have too many options of revenue right now.
Yeah, right now, as long as GankStars Sirius is able to dodge around the side of Team SoloMid, they should be able to pick up a little bit of farm, but it's going to be very rough for them for the next few minutes.
5-2 for the score and 2,000 gold now lead. Team SoloMid's coming in this one. Might be down a game, but they're putting up a big early game front. Now, as you said, with the mid game, what do you really expect to be the kind of the breaking point? Level 6 for Gabe Vizzo or maybe level 10 for Fuji?
We need to wait for Irakizoro to get his alternate current and his broken myth, and at that point, they might be able to fight.
Well, there goes the wait for it, and Mixie's going to be dropping low. He does get the silence off with that Valkyrie. Fuji into the back, looking for that pickup kill. He uses the Rose offensive. He will pick up one, but will Flash actually drop? No, looks like he will make that exit. Cold-Meek's a little bit more important now, but by the end of it all, it is going to be a 1-1 trade, and not too bad from GankStars.
Yeah, and that was a really good fight coming out from GankStars. They caught Team SoloMid pushing up a little bit too far against their turret, and they were able to collapse on them. Mixie, the Valkyrie didn't do as much damage as he would have liked, and right there, even though Fuji went down, a 1-on-1 trade, especially for the lead that Team SoloMid has, it's not too bad for GankStars Sirius.
And Cold-Meek's not going to pull any punches. No tension bow early. It's a Sorrow Blade now at the 7-minute mark.
Yeah, Sorrow Blade pretty early on. He's going to be hitting really hard against the side of GankStars Sirius, and it's really up to them to build a little bit of armor, negate a little bit of that damage early on, because right now, Mixie, he doesn't hurt too much, but he's still going to pack a punch.
And we do got fountains on both sides there as well. Mixi, now we've actually seen Eve of Harvest first items. Is that what Mixi's going to be going into here?
Almost certainly. Ryan picking up Eve of Harvest makes him such a huge threat. He's so hard to kill. And right now, that gold mine is going to be the point of contention.
Yeah, okay, here comes that gauntlet. No gauntlet. It's actually going to be the immense gold payout going over to TSM, but can they actually get out of this one with their lives? Flash, he has that fountain going, and they've taken down Fuji. He went a bit too far. Now Iraqi, he has Mixi right there on top of him. It's going to be enough for that Spire. And now Gabe, he makes an exit for an ace, and Team SoloMid now up 9 kills and a heck of a lot of gold.
Yeah, this is the exact play that GankStars Series does not want to make. Even though Team SoloMid was occupied by that gold mine, GankStars Series, they just do not have the power to fight yet. Iraqi Zoro, he was low on energy. Gabe Vizzle, he's not level 6. There's absolutely no reason for GankStars Series to take that fight.
And a turret on top of it as well. It's a pretty nice cherry for that cake, and 5,000 gold now accrued in 8 minutes.
Yeah, right now things are looking a little bit rough for GankStars Series. However, they will still be able to hold out. It is still up to TSM to push into the side GankStars Series, and even though they do have a very large lead, their team composition is not that great at pushing.
Well, GankStars is kind of just starting to fall a little bit here on pretty much every aspect. The lane, not looking too good for Iraqi Zoro. He's sitting at 54 compared to the 78 of Cole. They've lost out their turret, and the jungle situation's just not any better for them. Fuji's at 29 last hits, and he's possibly even going to go down here. Mixi is right there to slow him down, looking for the Spire. Good Rose offensive. Will Fuji be able to sprint out of this one?
Yeah, he's Black Fred. He's going to make it out of there. No problem whatsoever. And one interesting thing to note is Team SoloMid, they have picked up both the minion mines. That means the lane minions will be pushing up against GankStars Series. And if Team SoloMid doesn't take advantage of that, it's going to be really tough. Fuji
gets that hit with the Achilles shot. Does he actually have a Rose offensive charge? Doesn't even need it at this point. So Mixi and crew, that was like a cross right there. But into this back, I mean, all right, almost the timing there, Mixi. I'll give you some credit, but still, the jungle is dominated by SoloMid.
Yeah, and one thing to point out, as you said, I do like to bring up those Iron Guard goals, and look at it right now. Flash X about 2.5k, Gabe Vizzle sitting at 1.4.
When Flash is 1,000 up, you can see in the items as well. We have those fountains, but it's a Warhorn now for Flash. Can you imagine the damage with this Eve of Harvest that Mixi's going to get with that movement speed? I mean, Mixi at this point looks like he's the one caught, but Fuji now, big silence. The Blast Tremor will bring Mixi down low, but it's just, all right, he will live. Fuji is going to drop, though. He held on at the end there. That's a gauntlet, gets the one stun. Hellfire on top of it as well. Is that enough to bring down Iraqi? I think it is. Yeah, Flash will pick up that kill, and now Gabe Vizzle, he is going to be running, but there's an Achilles shot on him. Here comes Flash, looking for the blood for blood, looking for Cole. He's going to take this up, and they're going to get it for another ace.
Yeah, another ace coming out for our side, Team SoloMid. They are playing these fights so well. They are not happy that they went down into losers bracket yesterday, and they are definitely showing their stuff today.
Could this be another turret? It's only Fuji here for the defense. Those are ace buffed minions. Flash could actually tank this out, and if Fuji doesn't go anywhere with this turret down, they could turn on him, and well, a little bit of damage. You can see it right there. We had one Rose offensive from Fuji, but oh man, he's down half, and it barely even touched him.
Yeah, and this is the danger of picking a later game team composition. If you aren't able to hold yourself up in the early to mid game, Team SoloMid is just absolutely running rampant in this match.
6,000 gold. Now another gold mine going their way. Might be up 1-0 for GankStars, but this first game, I mean, I talked to TSM just a little bit before this. They're pretty chill about it. They've done this matchup. They know what to do, and they're very confident. It's really showing.
Yeah, most certainly looks like it. Right now, Team SoloMid up so much gold right now. Cole Meek sitting on a Star Blade, a Tornado Trigger, and a Reflex Block. He is going to be absolutely a monster in these fights. And right now, Iraqi Zoro, he has his alternating current, but he doesn't have that much yet.
Man, with Cole on a Sword Blade and a Tornado Trigger, I mean, it's just going to be crits for breakfast. It's going to be a machine gun mentality. Once he gets that Twirling Silver going there as well, how do you stop this?
Yeah, right now, Gabe is going to have to stun Cole Meek. They have to get the silences out. However, another turret is about to go down, and there's nothing GankStars Series is going to do about it.
Fuji has an infusion, but yeah, with that turret already done, he's into the back now. He's going up against Cole, but at the same time, Iraqi and Mixi, they're dueling out. There's actually no kills yet, and Fuji eventually will get the kill. Silence with that blaster. Mixi's going to drop. Fuji finally hits the floor, but now Flash in a 2v1 situation. There's just nowhere for him to go unless he wants to gauntlet over the edge. He just got it up.
Is he going to do it? He does. Flash X makes it out. Gabe Vizzle is on the chase, though. Will he make it out? He's going to run away, and that prevents the ace from Team SoloMid.
The timing of that gauntlet couldn't have been better. Flash played that one extremely cool, calm, and collected, and he made it out, denying the ace. But again, the damage is done. There's so many turrets down for GankStars.
A little bit of overaggression coming out from the side of Team SoloMid. However, it's only 12 minutes in the match. The Kraken has not spawned yet, and GankStars Series, they're just going to let the minions continue to push to their side, farm up a little bit of gold, and hope to stall out to the mid to late game.
Now, a little bit of an advantage going into this this next team fight. It's a small window for sure, but there will be a point where Vs.GankStars has that Blast Tremor and Flash still doesn't have that Gauntlet. If we can make something happen there, GankStars might be able to start turning this around, but it's going to be a narrow window.
Yeah, I sincerely doubt that Team SoloMid is going to look for a fight in that 10-second window, but they might. And as long as GankStars Serious is able to capitalize on that, they might have a chance, but I don't expect them to look for a fight anytime soon.
Yeah, 6,000 gold is going to be holding. Fuji actually does get noticed. Mixi, though, he's going to be the target. He does have a lot of that fortified health. The Evo Harvest, look at that Hellfire on top of Iraqi. He's going to be burning out. There's the wait for it, but it does get reflex blocked, and Fuji just can't take down Cole. He's going to go deep for it, gets paid for it, and now Gabe to make the ace again. Team SoloMid have 2 turrets between them and victory, and looks like they're going to push up this lane. Yeah,
that was very, very questionable coming out from the side of GankStars Serious. They needed to wait for that Blast Tremor. The science is so important, especially against that Rhyme, especially against that Ringo. The Twirling Silver, the Valkyrie coming out from Mixi, it was just absolutely devastating in that fight.
Cole the Meek is sitting at 517, 111 last hits. I gotta say, he's probably just rolling in the cash. Look at those crits! Look at that Tornado Trigger just doing work on that turret. Now a little bit of a fight. We do got those minions there, remember, as well. But Fuji, Achilles shot. Cole is just doing so much damage, but he's too far forward. He does drop, and now Fuji and Iraqi, they're trying to dodge his head. Flash doesn't actually go over that wall, but he turns around anyways. He gets one. Can he actually pick up Fuji? It's gonna be close, but it's just not there. Fuji dashes back in, gets the kill. Would have been a heck of a Lost Boy top play if I ever seen one.
So close. Once again, the exact same play came out. Team SoloMid, they were trying to push into the side of GankStars Serious' base. However, GankStars setting up a perfect defense, protecting their turret. It takes almost no damage, and once again, they pick up 2 kills for themselves.
Now, GankStars is starting to finally put some points on the board. 17-8, though. They're still pretty far down there, but still, pay attention to the goals. 6,000, 6,000. Now it's closer to the 5 mark. So they're clawing themselves back into this, but a few more unfavorable trades. They're not going to have any turrets still standing, and we have a Kraken coming up in 40 seconds.
Yeah, the TSM special not going to happen this game round since there only are 2 turrets left. What I expect to happen, though, is Team SoloMid, they're going to wait for the 15-minute mark. They're all going to double infuse, and they're going to go for the game-winning push.
Yeah, they have the money for it there as well. All Flash needs is a little bit of a boost, but even then, 30 seconds, the passive gold gain might be enough. You can see them holding onto that cash as well, and you know what, Zeke, and I think you're just going to be absolutely right about this in the next few.
Yeah, and right now, Cole and Meek just pushing up the lane. They have nothing to do they don't have to do anything until Kraken spawns.
There it is.
And as soon as it does come up, they can either go for it. If they bait out a fight against GankStars Serious in the open, they have a huge advantage.
All right, Flash actually opting for a little bit of armor. He picks up the Atlas Pauldron just before this, but there's one set of double infusions. Ooh, a Tyrant Monocle to go with this Cole. Cole, does he have 100% crit at this point?
Yeah, right now, Cole just hitting so incredibly hard, and it's going to be really exciting to see the Kraken has spawned. Will TSM go for it? It's going to be a good question.
All right, so Kraken is on board. We got one set of those doubles. Flash is not going to be joining him on that one, but Cole the Meek with that item choice, he can still actually pick up one more if he really wants it. The bigger thing here to talk about, though, is that GankStars Serious, they know this Kraken's up. It's going to be an objective, but they are absolutely letting it slide. They're not even out of their base.
Yeah, the main thing for GankStars Serious is they know they cannot take a fight outside of their base, because if they don't have the turrets, if they don't have the base walls surrounding them, it's going to be so hard for them to win a fight. And right here, let's see what happens.
All right, Party Bush. Now, TSM likes to actually sit into the top one. Flash, though, is going to find him here into this one, but Flash isn't who you want to be focusing. He still has that gauntlet. Everything is ready to go, but the Kraken is still advancing. If you want to take a fight, you got to try to get some kind of jump on him, and there it is, the jump with the gauntlet. Flash is going to go low. Lots of reflex blocks going out. I don't think the wait for it is going to get that silence, and again, with these reflex, and they are standing so long. Flash is still alive. He does so much damage before dropping, but it doesn't matter by the end. GankStars, without that engage, they get engaged upon, and TSM are going to take this 20-9, and the Kraken will provide a first game in their name.
Yeah, valiant last attempt fight by the side of GankStars Serious. However, it just was not enough. Team SoloMid an absolutely crushing victory in this first game.
They are repping their brand well. They are here to win. That trip into the lowers might have actually sharpened their senses. They were doing their homework, and they have the confidence here to bring this into the finals to rematch up against Halcyon Hammer's Velocity.
Yeah, and that's another match that I would really love to see once again. However, Halcyon Hammer's Velocity, they are looking forward to fighting GankStars, so it's going to be a really interesting thing to see. What will GankStars do to adapt to what TSM just brought out?
Well, I mean, there's definitely a lot of tools left in the pockets of both teams. I mean, we saw support Vox yesterday. We've seen support Glaives from Gabe Vizzle as well. I mean, there's a lot more than just the standard comps, and the only Game 5 is going to be blind. It's going to be just all the drafts until then. But the Ringo, I mean, Cole the Meek, he could actually be the next ban in this next game.
Yeah, it could be really interesting. However, we do have to watch out for that Dojo ban once again, because it's such an important puzzle piece for both of these teams. And whichever team gets it, they have so many options for the draft.
Yep, GankStars being the B team onto this next matchup, they are pretty much going to be forced into that Adagio ban.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting unless they have something really good planned out for fighting it. So let's see what they bring out.
All right, so it's up to them to keep this kind of momentum going here from Team SoloMid. But GankStars, again, this is not a new matchup to these guys. The first NA qualifiers, 3-0 to GankStars, second to TSM. Actually, both of them won by Meek. He holds 6-0 when it comes to these finals.
Yeah, and Meek, such an incredible player. In this last game, he was just absolutely dominating in that game. He got 7, 2, and 9. He was doing so much damage on that Ringo, the twirling silver, just absolutely wrecking everything. And I really need to see what will GankStar Series do to adapt.
And the last hits, of course, were just out of this world as well. He is one of the highest last hitting laners that we do have here in the Vainglory League. But as we set up for this next game, we're going to get the thoughts of Rome and Playoff Beard back at the desk.
Thank you very much, Forecourt Jester. Rome, that is the TSM that we all expected to see in this tournament. That is the TSM that won the World Championship. And that is the Flash X that we expected to see coming in, getting his favorite hero, Arden, and playing out of his mind in that game.
Yeah, and definitely there was many great jukes coming out of Flash that one. He took like evasion to a different level, especially the way he played both Iraqi and gave Visual in their own base. And a couple of like small items that I do really want to have to point out here, especially on Mixi. He opted out grabbing that Eve of Harvest really early, and this gave him that opportunity to actually sustain himself out, and it works out with his fortified health.
All right, Flash X, let's take a look at him and his KDA in this game. This is the Roamer, but he's 8-3-11. Boy, did he show up in this one.
Yeah, and he was always out there up in front, using that Stormguard banner to secure them those kills. Especially, you see Arden with that blood for blood punch. He always put himself in the right position, even when like he was standing out front. He was in front of the Sirius team. He would turn it around, throw out a punch before maneuvering around to a different position.
So many big stories in this game. Another one right from the outset. It was actually Meek out farming and out dueling Iraqi Zoro.
Yeah, so this one is actually really funny because both of them used to play on the same team together, and now Iraqi Zoro versus Meek up in that lane. It is one of those matches to watch, but excellent expectations coming out of him in terms of taking Ringo in that early game and just putting on all that pressure towards Iraqi Zoro on that Vox. But TSM this last match, like one of the things we have to really look at was how they finished like their jungling really fast. It gave Fuji no opportunity to actually do any counter jungling, and he wasted so much time in their base.
And that's such an important point because what happened there was one member of TSM would invade enemy side, the other member of TSM would farm their own jungle, and when Fuji looked for camps to take, there were simply none to be had, starving them out, giving them big problems. Another person who gave them big problems was Mixi on that Rhyme.
Yeah, and the positioning coming out of Mixi this last game was excellent. We always notice that as long as he stays up front and he can get off those auto attacks, he sticks to the enemy, and getting that fortified health, it gives so much time for Meek on that Ringo just to stand that back line. With that tornado trigger on Meek, he just kept spamming away, twirling silver, and nobody had a chance to really run away from that.
All right, and of course, if you're wondering why it says 1-1 now when we get into this match, it is because GankStars Sirius, they get the benefit of having make it through the winner's bracket, so they started up 1-0. TSM now has tied it at 1 in this best of 5. So going into this, it will be, you know, an even series now, even though TSM has the momentum. What changes, if any, does each of these teams have to make for game 2?
Well, I love how TSM actually approached this first match, pretty much correcting all the mistakes from yesterday, especially starting from the drafting phase. They made sure that they grab a composition that works out really well. And it highlights every single player's suits. Like, we saw Meek playing at the Ringo yesterday, and it showed really good faith in them. Something I do want to see that TSM steers clear of is that buff composition. I feel like it doesn't work out for them so well. So going to the second match, I do hope that they ban Adagio first, since they are picking and banning first.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Obviously, Flash X, he's most comfortable on that Arden, but it's a very difficult hero for GankStars Series to ban because of Adagio, because of other priority bans. Does GankStars Sirius have to go that far in order to put Flash X on one of those heroes that he struggled more with in the first 2 days of this tournament?
Not so much, but like on Flash X, I do see that he does throw out the gauntlet, necessarily not at the best times. And
what?
Yeah, that was yesterday, but today it was more on point, but it's still not on the same level as Lost Boy Toph, where he maximizes as much as he can out of landing that gauntlet down.
Well, that said, though, Flash X was clearly much more comfortable killing people with blood for blood. I don't know what you want out of this guy. He goes 8-3-11 on an Arden. He looked very confident. He looked very decisive in that match. And I'm sure if he could get Arden again, he would want to get Arden again.
Yeah, and he played him out so well, but my expectations for these guys are pretty high up there. Going to the second match, I feel like GankStars Series has like a couple things that they want to make sure of, especially during that drafting phase. I felt like Vox and Blackfeather together didn't have too much synergy, especially with the Catherine, although they are very strong into that late game. It leaves them so much vulnerability in that early game where they have nothing to actually really contend or fight back against like the heavy aggression coming out of the TSM team.
Okay, you're known for your predictions throughout these drafts. How do you see this ban phase going, perhaps?
I do hope that TSM starts off with an Adagio ban, pretty much because I don't want to see them playing Adagio, and for sure they don't want to be giving the GankStars Series team that Adagio. On the second hand, like, we saw a bunch of different compositions coming out of TSM so far, and it feels like even though they rotate Mixi between the lane and that jungle, he plays a big presence. So grabbing a comfort pick on their side works out really well for them.
All right, and if you were in the corner of TSM, it's one of those interesting moments where this match went really well. Do you just keep doing what you're doing, or do you have to keep showing different looks to a team that has been a world champion in their own right, has such good players that will take advantage of any opening you give them?
They can't like walk into this like empty-handed. They have to know 2 more wins and they're going to the finals. So they have to make sure they're bringing their A game. They're bringing out those compositions that they have been practicing so hard for.
Now tell me one player to watch here really quick, and then we're going to get into the draft.
For this one, we have to watch Mixi because he showed us like different versatilities and how he's playing out these different comps, and their gameplay has been excellent on his behalf.
All right, we'll keep an eye on that. I think we are ready for the draft. It is technically 1-1 now. So really, match 3 going into this. It will be TSM now picking and banning first, and we'll have to see how all the permutations play out. They decided to take away a Blackfeather.
So I'm not too sure what the Blackfeather does really here, unless they're planning to play like somebody that does a lot of damage in that backline. But then again, like I just recently spoke about this Adagio pick coming out and the buff comps for TSM. I'm not too sure that they're going to be able to execute this out as well.
Yeah, this is so interesting. So it is Flash X forced off of the Arden, and now the big decision, do you put Flash X on an Adagio where he maybe doesn't have quite the historical success as on an Arden, or do you put Cole the Meek on an Adagio or even Mixi, but put, Cole the Meek, it doesn't fit his playstyle. He wants to be menacing, he wants to be moving forward, and Adagio needs to be on the back line.
Yeah, but actually looking at the GankStars Series team, and they picked up that Vox and that Cruel, so this actually gives Team SoloMid a great chance in that early game. And here actually, like in this one scenario, grabbing up a buff composition and working it out does do really well for them, although I do want to see Mixi playing this Adagio.
All right, we're going to see. Call the Meek is on the clock. A few seconds left. They do go back to that Ringo. It has worked really well on Call the Meek in particular, and that is the early game comp you were looking for with a Fortress as well.
And this one, I have to give the advantage here already to Team SoloMid based on, I don't even need to see the last pick coming to the GankStars Series side, to be honest. Just because I see so much early aggression coming out of them, and it doesn't matter. You have a Crow, you have a Vox. You will need to get to that 10 to 15 minute mark before your damage really starts to show.
It is a Koshka. Wow, we got a trend going for all the action in this third game, technically. It is Forecourt Jester and Zken.
All right, guys, we're back on the floor, and Zeke and I, we were watching that draft. It's like Rome's like, I don't even need to see that last pick, and as soon as it went down, Zeke's like, yes.
Yeah, this is the perfect pick coming out from a side GankStars Series. The Koshka with the Kroll together in the jungle is actually extremely effective because what's going to happen in this match is Gabe Bizzle, he is playing that Roam Kroll, and all he has to do is be slightly tanky and get in the face of the carries of the side of Team SoloMid and just shut down their damage.
Roam Glaive, Roam Vox, Roam Kroll.
Just everything, right?
Just everything works for these guys as we jump on in to the fold. We got TSM here loading up on the left. It looks like Flash. It's going to be that Roman, as he said, Gabe Vizzo, Roman with Kroll.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see. I love the adaptation coming out from the side of GankStars Series. The Roam Kroll, it's going to be so good in this matchup, and it's going to be really exciting to see how it plays out.
All right, so Iraqi Zoro last round didn't exactly have the best of times in that lane. The early game, a disadvantage, definitely put him in to that deficit, but now he's going up against Cole again with this Ringo.
Yeah, and this time around, though, it's going to be really interesting to see. Will Iraqi Zoro be able to pressure Holbeek a little bit, or will the exact same thing happen?
So, what do you build with a roaming Gabe Vizzle Kroll?
All he has to do, honestly, is build a standard roam build. Like, he can get the Fountain, he can get the Crucible, he can get Shiver Steel, whatever he wants. And as long as he has a little bit of attack speed, maybe a Swift Shooter or a Blazing Salvo, he's going to be completely fine.
So this very much reminds me of what Hardex has been playing. It's just he gets that attack speed and then everything else is defensive. He's going to be that kind of like that tank, that frontliner.
Right. All he has to do is get into the front, stick on top of Kolomik, and shut down his damage, and it's going to be a very, very tough game for Team SoloMid.
And Kroll does have that unique ability to bring weakness stacks into it. So even with Cole, with all that weapon damage, which is very likely what he is going to be going into, I can't imagine for whatever reason he'll go into a CP, not with an Adagio there. You know, you look for those weaknesses. He might be buffing out this Ringo, but you bring that down a heck of a bunch with that weakness stacks.
Yeah, one thing I just want to point out, this is a really smart play coming out from the side of GankStars Series. Even though they saw Team SoloMid walk into their jungle, they still threw a foot into the bush to pretend that they didn't know where Team SoloMid was.
It's the mind games, man. Gabe Vizzle going to use From the Shadows. He will find Cole, but Cole's not having any of it. He is just going to be A-OK, and the lane gank not happening. The rest of the TSM here as well. It's going to be into this lane, but, I mean, remember, that's a support Kroll. He's looking for that Iron Guard gold right now. That's why he's not off in the jungle.
Yeah, all they really want to do right now is get Gabe Vizzle just a little bit of gold, make sure he gets a little bit of tankiness, and just jump on Kolomik over and over, and right here they're in a lot of danger.
And here comes Fuji as well from behind. Kolomik didn't see that one coming, and that's now first blood for GankStars Series. Flash X will make an exit. He's going to try to freeze out that lane. Adagio might actually come up to claim it. It's going to be a while until that Ringo comes back into it, but at least there's going to be a heal. They're going to jump on top of Gabe Vizzle. A little bit of fire, and wow, that is going to absolutely work. Could they go for the double? One more. No, they can't actually grab a Rakizoro, but I mean, Mixi coming in, he's making his presence known.
Yeah, Rakizoro just barely dodging out of that last base attack from Mixi. And right now, we do have Fuji. He is level 4 right now. So the highest level in the game on that Koshka, things are looking pretty okay for him.
He's been left to himself in the jungle. He did some countering. He does have a good few last hits under, about 16 to the same as Mixi. But as you said, level 4, that solo experience, doing him just a little bit better. But now TSM is on the hunt.
Yeah, that's going to be really interesting because TSM is going to waste a lot of time trying to chase Fuji down unless he runs right into him.
Yeah, unless he runs right into him. Might have been able to pounce to Cole had he known it was there, but the collapse is good, and SoloMid gets themselves a kill.
Yeah, I find that a little bit of a questionable move coming out from Fuji. If he went to the left, he could have actually bought a little bit more time for his teammates, but right now, Kolomiki is on his own in the lane, and see if Gabe Vizzle can set anything up.
All right, so Gabe Vizzle, I mean, a lot of this time rushing down on top of that Ringo, especially after he's used a twirling silver to be clearing out some of these lanes. It's going to be a good opportunity to use that movement speed and get on top of him, but there's not really an opportunity presenting itself. Even when they do go forward, it's this 3-man rotation, and TSM, they're looking to put Rakizoro down.
Yeah, they're doing a lot of damage to Rakizoro. However, he's doing a much better job farming this game against Kolomik. He's at 29 CS up to Kolomik's 27.
Definitely a lot more even than that factor of 2 or so that we saw last round. Now Fuji is going to come in from the right, but there's not much to do saving out that jungle minion. So instead, it looks like we're going to be pushing this lane. Rakizoro actually hasn't left lane. He has 1,000 gold now to go do something with it.
I feel like this is the story of Rakizoro. He just stays in the lane, gets a lot of farm, and hopes to carry the game. However, he's going to have to buy very soon. He's not going to be able to help his teammates in any of these fights.
Yeah, he kind of takes the detour and waits for it. Fuji took a little bit of damage there, and it looks like everything's going to be all right. In terms of those Iron Guard contract golds, something you do like to look at. It's pretty even.
So something interesting, Rakizoro is actually going Weapon Vox. This is actually a pretty good adaptation because they do have the Koshka on their team, and Koshka, she has pretty high crystal damage with the Aftershock. She's going to be able to spam all those abilities, and Rakizoro really has to put down a hurt with the weapon. Yeah,
if you did go into the double crystal, it'll almost like putting a time limit on the match.
Yeah, one interesting thing about Weapon Vox, though, is the burst damage that comes out of him is absolutely immense. So if he's able to get on the Kolomik, if Kolomik is actually just shut down by Gabe Vizzle, it doesn't even matter what happens by Rakizoro and Fuji, because Team SoloMid, they'll have no damage.
So going to be looking for Fountains to go with the heal there for Mixi. Of course, he is going to be getting quite a bit of that crystal power to go with it. Gabe Vizzle, though, he's going to be going deep and right into a death right there. Could have been a martyr situation. He just stalls them out. His team then does rotate back, and they will be spared that flame. But 3-1 for TSM, and they are still starting to come ahead there in the gold.
Yeah, and one thing we do want to see is what will GankStars Series do? If they stall this game out a little bit, I think they'll be completely fine because they have so many opportunities to lock down Kolomik. They have the Koshka, they have the Cool, they have stuns for days, and as long as Rakizoro is able to get farm, I think GankStars Serious has a huge advantage in the mid to late.
Would you expect to see a Crucible then from Flash?
I am expecting to see a Crucible coming out of Flash, but I'd rather see Reflex Block coming out from every single member of the side of Team SoloMid. It's just going to be extremely helpful against both Koshka and Kroll.
Well, right now at the 5-minute mark, we are looking to actually complete those tier 3 items first. Both Coldemake and Mixi, no reflexes in sight, but it is still early. Once they get that item, would you say go for that then, or would you even cut right into your item build now?
I would probably wait a little bit because Gavizzle and Fuji's level 6, but honestly, I don't really expect TSM to be so out of position that it will be caught.
Yummy Catnip Frenzy there from Fuji, but I don't even know who actually took more damage there. Fuji was definitely dropping low. They've already lost now at 1 and 2. They do trade out evenly on 2 sides of 2 different fights right there. Araki Zoro thinking maybe he's going to bring down Flash, but that's going to be a heck of a push. But oh, he does actually have a Scout Trap, and now Flash, he's going to jump there to that minion. But Araki has these Sonic Zooms. Problem is he's running low on energy.
Yeah, that was such a good fight coming out from GankStars Serious, and especially against a team composition that is so strong in the early game, that such as the one TSM has. GankStars Serious, they're holding out so well. The gold is almost even, and they are looking really, really strong right now.
So conversely, then Team SoloMid not really finding that early game advantage that they had in the last game, and you know, if they do actually trade out even until that mid game situation, is that where GankStars is really going to start finding their stride?
I definitely expect GankStars to be able to pick it up in the mid game, because as soon as Gavizzle is able to stick onto Cole without worrying about himself, then GankStars Serious is free to do whatever they want in these fights. It's going to be absolutely terrifying for Team SoloMid.
All right, so a little bit more shopping going down. Still looking for those tier 3s, but they do find Flash a little bit. That's some good damage. Here comes a Hellfire, though. The puppies are out and about. Silences are going to be going down, and Araki gets a race. Fuji is now going to be right there into the mix of it. The Yummy Cat in Frenzy, but he dies during it, and now it's a 3v1 situation. Gabe gets none for his trouble. That is going to be the triple and the ace.
And that right there was Iraqi Zoro just being completely caught out. That cannot happen in these fights. He has to be able to sit in the back line. He has to be able to do the damage consistently, because even though Gavizzle was jumping on Cole, if Iraqi Zoro goes down, there's not the damage to follow up anything for GankStars Serious.
Immense gold payout. Coldemike's doing a good number here on top of this turret. I think the minions plus him might have it, and that's a heck of a gold swing now going to Team SoloMid. So much for that even trading back and forth. They take nearly 3,000 gold from it.
Yeah, and right now Iraqi Zoro is kind of clear away as much as he can, and this is going to be so dangerous from GankStars Serious. If they were able to keep the gold even, if Team SoloMid was not able to capitalize on such a big misplay by GankStars Serious, this would have been a much different game.
Look at those pickups immediately. Shattered Glass and Reflex on Cole. Soro Blade, Oakheart, but you know that's going to go into a Reflex.
Most certainly. And right now, Gavizzle, I do expect him to pick up an Atlas Pauldron fairly soon. He's definitely going to need it against both Mixi and Colamik, just dropping their damage significantly. In fact, Atlas Pauldron on both Fuji and Gavizzle is not something I would be surprised by.
All right, so 8-3, Team SoloMid. They did win one game, but GankStars came into this with a 1-0 lead. Still, SoloMid is taking this game so far with a 3,000 lead, 8 kills to 3. Their last hits have been pretty on par as well, not really falling behind in kind of any aspects. I say that, but Coldemake is actually down 5, but Mixi is now leading Fuji by 10.
Yeah, right now Mixi is doing so well for himself. Level 9 already, and here's another fight.
Possibly, yeah. Araki Zoro is just going to get out of dodge out of that one. I mean, as you said, he doesn't want to be the one on the front line. He doesn't want to be the one caught out. He needs to stay in the back and get that damage. Now, the only real appeal that we have here is Gabe in those weakness stacks and then Fuji with that stun. Everything else, Araki Zoro is just, you know, he's going to have to fend for himself a lot.
Yeah, right now, I don't expect his team to peel for him. What his team is trying to do is take down the primary carry of Colamik. However, Mixi is starting to do some serious damage on his own with that Shatter Glass, with that Reflex block. He's going to be a huge threat, too.
All right, so as we do just continue starting to push in inch by inch up against the GankStars Serious territory, you can see they're going to be in this push. Are they looking for a fight right now? Level 8 compared to the 9. 6s, a few there, but that's going to be stuns. They're looking to bring down Mixi as quick as they can, but the fountain nearly actually worked out that time. Now, Fuji is a big focus. Coldemake, he's going to be chasing him down. He has a puppy on him as well. You can't really outrun these guys, but now Cole, he gets collapsed upon, and Kroll actually gets that kill right there. So 2-1. GankStars is going to be looking good in that fight, and now Gavizzle will find Flash. Who wins this fight?
Honestly, it doesn't matter because neither of them will be able to kill each other. Gavizzle will eventually win this fight, but it's not going to matter at all. They're just going to walk away from each other. But that fight, that was so well played by Gavizzle. He completely ignored the front line of Team SoloMid, went directly for Colamik, and completely shut him down.
Flash X saying, talk to the tail, gets out, no problem. But as you say, I mean, that's what we need to see more of Gabe Vizzle doing. Getting into that back. Look, he has that Shiver Steal there as well. So that if he can get, 2 to 3 man's Shiver Steal, plus the stun there of Fuji with the Yummy Catnip Frenzy, that's a really good intro into these kind of fights.
Yeah, however, here TSM is taking the gold mine. It's going to be completely free for them. 186 gold for each of their members. Not too bad for their pockets. And right now, about 3,000 gold lead coming out for side Team SoloMid. However, things are getting a little bit dicey for them.
Yeah, they're going to hold that 3,000 gold lead. And 10 minutes in, it's not quite cracking time yet, but that's going to be in the back of these guys' mind. We haven't really done a lot of turret pressure from GankStars Sirius because they're not really winning these fights. Yeah, they might be able to trade out evenly, but they're not getting a ton of value outside.
Yeah, right now TSM is not willing to push too far up because they're really scared of GankStars Sirius. However, the longer they wait, the more dangerous it gets for them. Even if SoloMid gets really powerful, even if Mixi gets a ton of crystal power, if Gabe Vizzle gets tanky enough, it's not going to matter at all.
And we've seen actually Hardak on Kroll, for example, this entire weekend. He's been really showing us the power of these sustained, these survivable Krolls. And now coming into this one, this could be a good position. GankStars, are they going to be going right into that back? Yummy Cat and Frenzy does get blocked out, but the damage is still there. Mixi will get off a first just before going down, and now Araki, he's the focus target. He's going to drop, but Cole as well is going to go down. Fuji, will he live through this? He's not bleeding. He's going to be scot-free, and Gabe Vizzle is just going to deter any kind of more chase. That's a 2-1 for GankStars.
And another fantastic fight coming out from the side GankStars Sirius. This is exactly what they need to do. Just take these fights, make sure that Gabe Vizzle gets onto SoloMid, and as another, support battle comes, nothing's gonna happen.
Punt, get out. All right.
It's like shoo.
Flash X, second time he's been in that situation. They got a Warhorn now, and I'm not entirely too sure Warhorn would have mattered that fight because they're the ones that got engaged, but it's a powerful tool to get Flash into that back line.
Yeah, one of the main things is Flash is not the one that needs to be using the Warhorn for himself. If Mixi gets into the middle of the GankStars Sirius team, great. However, the main thing that it's going to be used for is to get SoloMid away from Gabe Vizzle. That is the primary use for it. I would be really interested to see, will Flash X pick up a Shiver Steal? Because if he can slow down Gabe Vizzle, prevent him from getting those stacks on SoloMid, it's going to be a huge benefit to his team.
Now, GankStars are doing some damage to the gold lead accrued by Team SoloMid, but still looking like 2,500 or so between these guys. And every time that there's a fight, it looks like TSM's able to pick up these free gold mines.
Yeah, these gold mines, they are getting taken. However, it's not going to matter too much if they do not close the gold lead. If they are not able to push down these turrets. As long as GankStars is able to defend, things are going to look really, really rough for Team SoloMid very soon.
All right, Araki Zoro has now put 3 kills on the board, 2 there to Gabe and another 2 there to Fuji. And there's been a lot of talk about Koshkas. We'll talk about that later, though. Fuji's going to go in. The Yummy Catnip Frenzy again. Mixi's a big target. Will he get the verse off? Nope, he's just going to drop, and Fuji now gets into that back. Araki Zoro lived right through that whole thing, and finally we might have an opportunity for an ace here as Gabe and Fuji, can they bring down the pup? We got the minion miner now involved in this as well, but Flash is taking his time. There it is, the first ace for GankStars Sirius.
And this is exactly what I'm talking about. Team SoloMid, they are in a very, very tough position right now because GankStars Sirius, they have such a good team composition to counter the entire team of Team SoloMid, and it's going to look very dangerous for them. The Atlas, as soon as Gabe Vizzle picks up his Atlas Paladin, as soon as Fuji gets an Atlas Paladin, Team SoloMid is basically going to lose every single fight.
All right, so we'll have to see if the Prophet Zekint will come true on that one. But during that fight, you just saw them. They had to defend out against that lane push, and that turret is down to half. There hasn't been any hero pressure on top of it at all. It's just simply because the lanes keep pushing and pushing, and Team SoloMid, they keep pushing that and looking for these fights. So even with them losing now some of these fights, there is no gold mine going over to GankStars. The jungle finally has just gotten cleared, and you still can't advance to the turret areas of SoloMid when these fights are so deep against GankStars.
Yeah, right now GankStars Sirius is trying to pick up another fight. Let's see if anything happens.
Now, the big question is Fuji and Koshka. We've another gold mine to TSM for free, but Fuji and Koshka, this has not been a very popular hero this weekend because a lot of people say that she does fall off. Are you not seeing that kind of situation here?
I would not be too worried about it in this match because his damage is not really reliant on those catnip stacks. Instead, he's just relying on the aftershock, he's relying on the stun, and he's just buying time for Gabe Vizzle to get stacks onto Cole.
So he's just literally for the peel and everything's on Araki.
Yep, pretty much.
All right, so coming in from behind, Gabe Vizzle's going to drop low. Another Yummy Catnip Frenzy. No verse here, but the Crow is down. There goes the Adagio. Fuji is going to take so many shots to the face, but Araki gets one. Can he pick up there for Flash for that ace? He's looking for it. The Sonic Zoom, the stutter steps. It's going to be good. one with the zoom and another race for GankStars.
And GankStars Serious coming out with an innovative team composition, coming out extremely strong come the mid to late game, and this is exactly where their team comp is a power spike.
I think I heard Rome eating crow a little bit. He said it was all TSM at this draft. It didn't matter what that last pickup was, but this is working.
Yeah, against any other team other than GankStars Serious, teams that do not prepare such interesting roam picks, it could definitely work. However, against GankStars Serious, against Vs.GankStars, who basically has every single hero under his belt, it's just not going to work.
It's been a while, but GankStars have finally taken that gold lead. They finally pushed up that lane as well, got themselves a turret for their trouble, and this could be an opportunity. If a good team fight goes their way, they might serve the TSM special to TSM. There's 4 turrets up in a Kraken, and with this momentum, GankStars is actually in a good spot to take game 2.
Yeah, we do.
Well, 3.
We do see FlashX picking up a Crucible for himself. However, I do want to see him adapt. I want to see that Shiver Steal. It's going to prevent Vs.GankStars from sticking onto Cole so easily. And right now, Vs.GankStars, there's nothing preventing him from just getting those stacks on. The weakness is coming out, and it's just completely destroying Team SoloMid's team composition.
All right, so we're going to be trying to push out that lane. We're not going to go for the minion mine, and it's going to be just okay for now. So many free gold mines went to TSM. Could this be a free Kraken for GankStars?
I'm really interested to see this because Team SoloMid, their team comp does not really take down Kraken too well. However, they're going to have to do something about this very soon.
It's just not happening, man. They're all showing themselves on map. They're all up in that lane. Kraken unleashed. We have those infusions, and this could be a game-winning push right now from GankStars.
I don't expect it to be the game-ending push. However, I expect them to take quite a few turrets. This is going to be a very, very difficult Kraken to stop by Team SoloMid, especially because GankStars Serious, they're not too tanky. However, Fuji and Vs.GankStars, as long as he uses Atlas Pauldrons, it can just completely prevent Team SoloMid from doing any damage to this Kraken.
TSM's infusion count is just not as terrifying as it has been in the past. They got the double on Cole, and then, well, they got a crystal for Mixi, but right past the turret, they're going to go for this. The Crucible is actually good. The reflex is there as well. Are we too deep? Cole the Meek is still going down rather low, but there goes the Adagio, and Cole is just not going to get the damage. The turret and the puppies will pick up Kroll, but now with this turret pushing up, it's only Flash here for the defense.
And this is just so incredibly well played by GankStars Serious. I cannot emphasize this enough. They have the perfect team composition to counter everything Team SoloMid is trying to do, and they're playing it out to perfection.
All right, they take 2 turrets. I don't expect this next one to fall, but 2 more kills. The Kraken, she's going to be off the board for the next 3 minutes or so. Kill lead going to GankStars. They maintaining at 3,000 over TSM, and now they're doing some counter jungling, a little bit of farming. Those infusions, I think, paid off.
Oh, certainly. And right here, we do see the breaking point coming out on Arakizoro. He is going to be an absolute mess in these fights if they cannot take him down. And I don't think there's any possible way for Team SoloMid to kill him. Flash X, he doesn't really do that much damage. Mixi, he can, but he's trying to buff up Kolomeek, and it's just not going to work out for them.
Gabe just picked up a reflex block. Could we be going for the last item, Crucible?
Yeah, it's almost certainly going to be a Crucible at this point. There's not really any other options to build it with that reflex block, unless he's trying to defend himself, which I don't really think he needs to.
He's pretty tanky at this point. He might have the 6 deaths, but a lot of those were from those earlier fights. He's been an instrumental part of this late game, bringing those weakness stacks, making this setup happen. And Arakizoro, I mean, every hit that he does with that weapon, Vox, there's no limit to his skill.
Yeah, right now Vs.GankStars actually picks up a weapon fusion for himself. He looks like he might be going for a bone saw with that Blazing Salvo. However, his team doesn't need the defense, so as long as he is able to shut down anyone he touches, it doesn't matter how defensive they are, because they just won't, Team SoloMid just won't do any damage.
I can definitely say that we've been doing a good job of keeping that damage at bay. GankStars now again with that kill lead. They're going to pick up this minion mine, so they show themselves on map. This is where TSM is now going to counter. They're actually pushing up this lane. This turret has been sitting at half. Are they going to go for this little bit of gold? Well, they're definitely going to take the pot shots, but now From Hell's Heart goes out. That's a stun. Wait for it's there as well, but the verse actually hits, but it's all blocked. There is no shutdown, no stun right there, and that's it for Vox, would you believe? Fuji's actually dropping now as well. This engage has not gone well for GankStars, and they lose out Kroll for the ace.
Wow, just Team SoloMid just absolutely dominating that fight. Arakizoro getting a little bit too far ahead of himself. He got completely caught out of position. He is completely taken down. And as soon as Arakizoro drops, even if Vs.GankStars shuts down Kolomeek's damage, Mixi is there to heal. Kolomeek is there to do damage. And that just went horribly south for GankStars Serious.
We've turned the tables. Team SoloMid, they're actually now going to come ahead in turrets. They have the map presence. Now with those death timers reduced per turret down, GankStars is back here for the defense, and TSM's making their exit. But could they go for this Kraken and look to end?
I definitely don't expect them to go for the Kraken right now. GankStars Serious, though, it's going to be a very interesting battle. Can Team SoloMid prevent GankStars Serious from taking that Kraken? If they can, they might be able to stall a game out. However, I don't really think that benefits them too much.
Now you see Mikshi's coming back into this one, fresh infusions on top of him. He's not even bothering with the Broken Myth at this point. He's just really focusing on getting that fighting power. A lot of infusions for Evan. Look at this chase. It's going cross map. Yummy Catnip Frenzy. They find it on top of Flash, but Fuji's out. He gets evaporated, and now Iraqi's making the exit, and Gabe is going to, well, very likely drop. I cannot imagine Kolomik's going to let him go. This is disastrous for GankStars.
And I was just seeing praises about GankStars just a few minutes ago, and right there, Fuji getting too far ahead of his team, jumping onto Flash X. That is not the target you want to lock down.
So Vox has no choice. He has to defend. There's no way that a backdoor will happen. He can't solo out that Kraken in a good time. And TSM pushing in with these minions. There's only one turret between them and victory, and taking this into a 2-1 situation, and I think it's just going to happen right here and now. That is going to be 4 seconds till Fuji, but that's now going to be, again, the tie-up. Iraqi just cannot hit these guys, and the crystal goes down. Team SoloMid flips it on the set.
Yeah, and that absolutely should not have happened. That's a complete misplay coming out from GankStars Serious. They had the game in the bag. They had TSM on the back foot. However, TSM able to turn around, able to take the victory. I'm very excited to see the next game.
Well, I could definitely see the happiness there with Flash. I think Cole was just more relieved than anything. He just ran a marathon into that one, but they brought it back, and they take this into a 2-1 situation for what looked like what is going to be a 2-1 for GankStars. One fight, a few different missed positions. Man, just absolutely amazing how they turned that around.
Yeah, and TSM right there just staying very, very calm. They looked like they were in a little bit of panic come the mid game. However, once they got to the late game, they're able to take down Raxo every single fight. They're able to lock down Fuji, and the side of GankStars, they just weren't able to do what they were doing so well in the past few minutes.
So we said, a little bit earlier, support Vox, support Glaive, now support Kroll. I don't know how many other tricks we can pull out of this one, but this is a 2-1 situation for TSM. They're going to be looking for a 3-1 to advance into those finals. GankStars, even though they came in a game ahead, haven't been able to put a point up.
Yeah, GankStars, they looked very, very strong in the second match, in the second half of the second match. But at the very end, they fell just short. I'm wondering if that's weighing on them at all.
Well, we're going to have to see. They're going to take a quick break, and so are we. We're going to give it back to Rome and Playoff Beer to take a few look at the highlights of that match.
All right, thank you, Forecourt Jester. And Z Kent, once again, it's Gabe Vizzle going to an innovative Rome. It sure made things interesting for TSM in that game.
Yeah, I really liked it, especially at the beginning, just because with Kroll and Koshka, they have that very strong early jungle dominance where they can just keep trying and engaging. And it really helped them out there where we saw GankStars Serious having that mid-game lead. But the thing that we have to give the MVP here out to the infusions coming out of the TSM side. Pretty much like this was what really changed the tide in that late game team fights, where we saw like GankStars Serious, they pretty much had this game in the bag, but with TSM, just being able to coordinate themselves, making sure that their fights were always double infused across the board, that made a big difference on their half.
That certainly is their signature. They hold 1,000 gold and double infuse when they need it. Reflex blocks also seem to play a big factor in those fights when you got a Koshka trying for a 2.2 second lockdown.
Yeah, and I'm amazed by all the reflex blocks, not just coming out of this game, but all the previous games earlier today. And this is one of the things that a lot of these professional organizations have been working on, is pretty much securing, as long as you're able to reflex block right, you pretty much negate a lot of like the incoming initiations coming from the opponents.
All right, this is the TSM squad that we expected to see and expected to advance to the finals. But Flash X, talk to me a little bit about his play. Clearly more comfortable on the Arden than the Fortress, but he did get the job done.
Yeah, overall they did really strong. They pretty much came into this, they didn't expect that Rome Kroll played by Gabe Vizzle this last match, where pretty much after the 12 minute mark, he pretty much showed up and he was pretty much a carry now. And with Kroll grabbing a bunch of defensive items and auto attack speed just to pretty much land those weakness stacks and prevent Ringo from doing as much damage as he possibly could.
Now you talked about the infusions, of course. GankStars, they had the more late game scaling comp where it looked like they were going to be able to win fight after fight. Was that basically the whole story? Was that how TSM was able to win those fights late when they needed to?
What they did really well on the TSM side was they waited for Fuji on that Koshka to initiate with that Yummy Catnip Frenzy. And the thing that they did really strong here was they reflex blocked it. Flash X came in and just Mixi came in actually and threw off that Verse of Judgment, and the fights just started really turning in their favor.
All right, so Looking ahead now, of course, the GankStars analysts and coaches are up there talking with their players in between these games, trying to figure out what do we do now that our backs are against the wall, our tournament lives are at stake. If you were up there with Owens or Viox, you know, what would you be telling them?
For GankStars Series, overall they've been playing very strongly. I think I would really look at their compositions right now, and I think they have to look at TSM. They know TSM do tend to like get those early game aggression compositions where they're very strong right from the start, and I would try and build a composition around that. We noticed in the last game and in this game that GankStars Series, they opted out and grabbed more to that mid to late game skill, and they got punished for it.
Do you expect to see an Arden ban again on Flash X?
To be honest, I wouldn't pick Arden just for that. I would actually leave it open and try to prioritize grabbing other counters.
All right, we'll have to see. And any other adjustments you would want to see out of the Team SoloMid side going into this game where they could close out?
They had a very rough start in that last match, mainly due to them not knowing exactly when to rotate. True, they had that Ringo and Adagio for that buff composition, but with Ringo always trying to pretty much prioritize his time in lane, grabbing CS and putting pressure on that Vox, he never had time to rotate down. In this game, gave Vizzle on that crew a lot of free roaming time where he pretty much just started building very tanky to get towards that hyper carry roam position.
All right, there is a chance that when Gabe showed the Vox, that was the thing that they were holding back, you know, for when it counts. But if they have any other cards to play, now is the time. You know, is there anything else you expect to see GankStars showing up with another unusual comp in this situation?
Well, so far, I haven't seen them prioritize too much of the drafting to pretty much counter against the TSM draft. They've been grabbing a lot of different composition, and they've been playing it out well, but there was nothing really approachable to directing it against the compositions coming out of the TSM side.
Do you think there's any chance of seeing any more Ozos? Was that just purely a day one misdirection?
Going to this last match, there is a chance that we will be seeing Ozo, but it also depends. Like, Adagio has been like a heavy ban or a heavy first pick, and a lot of teams do opt out to build like a buff composition using Adagio, but this is where Ozo really fits in well. And if they do grab an Adagio, they do have the opportunity to pretty much finish off and pick up that Ozo.
All right, we're getting ready for a match that GankStars must win or their tournament lives are over. We're going to take a quick break, hear from our sponsors, and when we come back, we're going to have this big match.
Welcome to the Academy.
Yep.
With a powerful quad-core processor and 7-inch screen, all for just $50, kind of makes you wonder, why buy just one? The $49.99 Amazon Fire Tablet.
It's not enough. The Donna goes down. He might go for Donna Clip. He's gonna get one. He's got a hit two.
Welcome everyone to the esports arena here in Santa Ana for the 2015 Vainglory Autumn Season Live Final! They are going to seal the deal here at 2-0, or will they? They take down the Kraken, one hit from win. Remember that there are no Vayne turrets available. They might look to try and end the game themselves. That's it. That is game 3 from Liberation X. Liberation X!
Oh man, what a fantastic game. I just can't believe it. I'm lost for words. What an amazing series we have.
North America Winter Championships live from the Red Bull Esports studio in Santa Monica, California. I am Playoff Beard here with Rome. It is 2-1 in this pivotal best of 5 semifinals. GankStars Sirius, their tournament lives are on the line now in Rome. What can they do? Can they perhaps switch up the draft? We've seen them have success when they counterpick in the draft using heroes like Petal, but they've been more focusing on building whole comps so far.
Yeah, and this is exactly what you have analysts for. They have to look towards the compositions coming out of the TSM side, where you see them going very strong to that early game, and you have to approach that really well. I found out so far with GankStars CS, all their compositions tend to lean really deep into that mid to late game, where they have nothing there to help them relieve that pressure from them in that early game. All right, so understanding that, what type of adjustments would you like to see? Overall, I love the picks coming out from GankStars Series the other day when either they picked up those Adagios or they picked up that Petal and played them really well. Even with Rhyme, especially going up against melee composition, it works out very dominantly for them. And so far, I haven't seen too much of that. Fuji certainly probably more experience on Rhyme than anyone, a hero that hasn't been out very often. He was on that hero right away. We're ready for this pivotal match. It is 2-1. Let's go to the draft and see what GankStars Sirius can pull out of their pocket now. All right, we're getting ready to jump in. The draft does begin. Thank you very much, announcer. And we're going to see GankStars Sirius take TSM off that Ringo. That's worked out well today. Yeah, and with this Adagio ban coming out of Team SoloMid, they want to make sure that they don't run into that Rome box again, where they had so much damage done coming out of that Sonic Zoom. Well, Rome, this is going like clockwork. Both these teams know what they want to do here. Yeah, and they come into this with a plan. But what GankStars Sirius has to do here is make sure that they're securing this last pick to have that early jungle pressure, just to make sure that it relieves the time that Iraqi Zoro needs for that late game scaling. How good does TSM feel knowing that Flash X is going to be on Arden once again? And I like the position here that Team SoloMid have, where they have this Black Feather ready just to secure them that late game team fight. They're going to be using this last pick just to get through that early game, and most likely they're going to grab somebody that's able to dive deep down and burst down the enemy team really quickly. This is going to be interesting. Sky, very elusive. Black Feather can cancel out any CC, has a lot of escape. Fortress, more of a going in initiator. We'll have to see what happens with this last pick coming out of TSM. It's going to be a Scarf real quick. Yeah, so with this one, TSM has a very late game composition, and I feel like with the compositions coming out of GankStars Sirius, they can be aggressive in that early game, and they have a great chance to actually maintain that pressure instead of having TSM constantly invade. Let's see what happens for the call. It's Forecourt Jester and Z-Kent.
As we're going to be jumping into it, ladies and gentlemen, again, not really that roaming box. They do actually look like they're going to be putting that roaming fortress into it here from GankStars, but possible match point for them. I hope that this is the draft they were looking for.
Yeah, and right now GankStars Sirius is playing for their tournament life. I'm really excited to see, will this team composition work out? The Sky, the Vox, the Fortress, they can be so aggressive early on, especially against that Scarf, Black Feather, and Arden combo.
And I call the Meek is going to be out in that lane with that Black Feather, and at the same time, I mean, Fuji's the jungler, so we're going to be seeing that jungle Sky, right? Yeah, so jungle Sky coming out. Most likely, Iraqi Zoro is going to lane with that light armor. He's trying to prevent a little bit of damage coming out from Kolomeek. It's on point. And right now, what's going to happen is Fuji and Gavizzle, they're going to play extremely aggressively. They need to be able to shut down Mixi in the jungle. That Scarf, just not so powerful in those early engagements. So I really wanted to see what Iraqi Zoro and what Fuji, which one's going to go weapon, which one's going to go crystal, maybe a little bit of both. But we already got some crystal bits, some early crystal bits, double now for Fuji. So Iraqi Zoro at this point, is that going to be that weapon? Yeah, it's most likely to be that weapon, Vox, once again. However, let's see what GankStars Sirius do. They do manage to steal the two minion camps away.
And right now, TSM, they are on the invade.
Yeah, and Fuji's going to dance around there with that target lock. He picks up one and the other as well. So Mixi, a little bit of wasted effort, but still, I mean, with this 3-man, with that pressure there, you can see that, you know, they're not willing to dance with TSM this early.
Yeah, and right there, they do have to have the 3 men down there because if they go in 2v2, GankStars Series has a huge advantage. That Fortress, that Sky, such powerful early game heroes. And right now, Kolomik, he's doing what he can in lane, but Iraqi Zoro is just going to be able to farm as much as he wants.
8-7 going back and forth. There has been a good track record with these melee laners, especially with Book of Eulogies as their first items. And Kolomik on that Black Feather especially, tends to really do very well in these laning phases.
Yeah, however, the interesting thing is, Mixi, if he gets to late game with the Frostburn, with the amount of damage that he can do at the range that he has, he's going to be a huge threat for GankStars Series. However, on the other side, Sky, Vox, both incredibly mobile. If Kolomik tries to jump in, both of them can just completely dance around him.
And remember, they're going to have Gabe Vizzle there to kind of just be side by side with him, use that movement speed from his passives and his teammates. And they're also going to have a little bit of a vision control when it comes to that level 6 when we do got Attack of the Pack going.
Yeah, and right now I do see a couple scout traps coming out from the side of GankStars Series. However, TSM still opting not to go with too many scout traps of their own.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a passive early game, just a little bit more vision, a little bit more farming going back and forth. Spitfire not going to hit Gabe, but Gabe is, you know, noticing that he's going to be right there. It's just not going to be a fight.
Yeah, and right now, TSM is doing what they can in the lane. They're grouping it as 3. However, they really do need to stop Fuji from farming as much as he wants because he's going to be a huge threat later on.
I think the doll of Iraqi Zoro moved. That's why a lot of people are just saying, all right, maybe he's actually here in person, or at least in spirit.
Yeah, that would be really, really interesting to see. His mind might not be here, or his mind might be here, but his body definitely is not.
Oh, we know that he's not full of hot air at this point. So, Team SoloMid 2-1. As we said, a little bit more passive. You said that GankStars has this really big early game, you know, fighting capability, but they're not going for invades.
Yeah, TSM is moving very, very well together as a team. Because Kolomik is not a Black Fire, he is able to push Iraqi Zoro into lane, and that means that GankStars Series won't be able to do too much.
All right, so a little bit of a fight, 3v3, but as we just kind of bounce off each other, Mixi's actually going to be the one that takes a lot of that forward barrage, and now Mixi is going to go down to that last hit from Iraqi Zoro. Still, 2,000 gold to his name, not entirely too sure which way he wants to go, but if he is going to go more weapon, you're going to see probably a lot more kills going his way.
Yeah, and Flashback's going in very, very aggressively. He's not going to be able to do too much right there on his own, and right there, Team SoloMid is going a little bit over aggressive. They should not be fighting GankStars Series as a 3v3 unit.
All right, 600 gold or so. Sirius, not so bad. They're just going to go right back to their farming ways. And Gabe Vizzle is less in lane, more in jungle here with Fuji. And Fuji has done, you know, really well with that. Right now, Mixi's level 4, but we're getting pretty close to that level 6 range here for Fuji.
Yeah, and the really telling thing right here is Fuji, 27 CS, 2 Mixi's 21. He's getting a little bit further ahead, and as soon as Fuji hits level 6, I think GankStars Series will go for a fight.
Yeah, they definitely should. If they're going to have that power spike and that advantage of a heroic or an ultimate to their name, it's definitely a good power advantage to use. Now, we do got that flare down. Does notice TSM. They're going to be hitting that shop a little bit. Iraqi has finally gone off and shopped. He does pick up the double weapon blade, so finally it will be the finality of that question. It is going to be weapon Iraqi.
Yeah, and right now Fuji doing a lot of damage to the side of TSM. However, it makes you dropping a lot of damage back on his own. That goop puddle definitely hurting quite a bit.
Yeah, you really shouldn't try to do any kind of big fighting within those goop puddles. I mean, Mixi's just going to get more and more powerful as time goes on, and that just means more and more damage, plus fan the flames. Both sides actually rocking the percentage damage with Gabe Vizzle on that Fortress as well.
Yeah, and right now Fuji does hit level 6, so he does have that Death from Above ultimate. However, one thing to watch out for is Flash X, he's going to be picking up a very early fountain compared to Gabe Vizzle.
Well, we'll have to see actually who can actually finish that one first. They are just life springs right now, but 1-0 in 5 minutes, definitely a little bit more of a toned down pace for these teams.
Yeah, I'm definitely expecting Flash X to pick his up first because he did not buy so many scout traps. He has 1,000 gold in his pocket and gave his only thing on 500.
It's curious, you know, you'd say the scout traps and Flash, but there's the Death from Above trying to just cut off this escape route. Flash is just going to go right through it, but he's not the target, so he's very confident that he's going to live right through it. And, well, the peel, it was enough. Kolomik not going to go down from that gank.
Yeah, this is going to give GankStars a little bit of an opportunity to invade onto the side of Team SoloMid. However, there are no jungle camps up, and on the other side, Mixi's just taking camps away off his own.
Yeah, you can see him sneaking around at the bottom of the map right there, and just like, all right, where's this scarf? Doesn't really matter too much, but there is a first item Frostburn there for Fuji at the 5-minute mark.
Yeah, and right now Flash X sitting on quite a bit of gold for himself. 1.2k, gave his sitting on 900 of his own. How the gold mine might be going for the way of GankStars Series.
We don't actually use the Death from Above to finish off this gold mine. We're using it as that, ooh, so close. Use that as a zoning tool instead, and it looks like they got the job done. The gold mine will go over to GankStars Series despite the guest appearance there from the Arden. Now we're not actually going to go check out the jungle. They would find a Scarf over there, but he does clean up the backs. Mixie's just going to get out of town, and well, he's going to find TSM actually just, farming up. So he's likely, what, is he going to go to lane? Is he going to come down here? Are they going to look for a rotation?
I'm definitely expecting SoloMid to go back to lane after this. Mixie might come down to the jungle, but I think all members of TSM have to go to lane. They have to defend their turret. It's going to take quite a bit of damage if they don't go there immediately. Yeah,
pushing up here. You can see GankStars trying to force their hand. Now, we do got a few level 6s now as well. We got the Wait For It. We got the Death from Above. We only have that Dragon Fire ready to go, the Dragon Breath from Mixie.
Yeah,
Cole the Meek just hit 6 now, too.
Right, I'm not really sure Mixie needs that Dragon's Breath at this point. It's going to do a good amount of damage, however, I think he's better off just lobbing Spitfires from the back. And
lobbing Spitfires to kind of poke down these waves, I mean, that is a big signature Scarf move, especially with Crystal Power, especially with laning. Now, I know he's in the jungle, but again, the more powerful he gets, the longer this match goes on, the wave clear is going to be phenomenal from Team SoloMid.
Yeah, one of the big things to watch out for is Team SoloMid. When that Black Feather and that Scarf become mid-game powerhouses, it's going to be very dangerous for the side of GankStars Series. However, right now, GankStars Series also has a very late-game team composition, so it'll be very interesting to see how do these fights play out, how is the positioning, and can these players stay alive?
Still 1,000 gold, less than 1,000 gold between these guys. 1 kill on the board in 7 minutes. Both sides have now finished off those fountains. Cole the Meek there does have a Serpent Mask ready to go, compared to the Frostburn of Fuji, and a Sorrow Blade now for Iraqi.
Yeah, right now Iraqi Zoro, as long as he's farming, I don't really think he's too worried about himself. As long as he stays in good positioning in these fights, he won't get caught out. Because last game, that was a turning point. The moment Iraqi Zoro got himself too far into a fight, the moment he got himself caught out, Team SoloMid started to make a comeback. However, right now, Cole the Meek, he has Serpent's Mask, he's going to be very hard to take down, and this might be an opportunity for Team SoloMid to start fighting.
Well, I mean, I'd definitely like to see them start fighting, and I think a lot of people here would too. But when there's so much on the line, you can't rush these things. These guys have this plan. They're going to farm up. They're going to go for those lates. Now you can see GankStars finally exploring the other side of the map here, but nothing really to find. You got those minion mines now taken from both sides, and the 3-man rotation. TSM, they got to be at the shot. That's what GankStars is saying. We just went through the jungle. They're not in lane. They're going to go for this gold mine. Vs.Vizzle jumps in. Here goes that gauntlet there as well. Death from Above, but a stun for Fuji. Cole the Meek's going to be dropping low. Here comes that Dragon's Breath, and that is it for that Black Feather. The Arden to be dropping as well, and GankStars takes the first fight of the game. 3-0 for the ace. They can pick up a gold mine and go straight to that turret as well.
And that right there is the exact importance of those scout traps. GankStars Series, they saw everywhere at Team SoloMid win. They had traps in both those bushes. The gold mine goes over to the side of GankStars Series, and that brings them to a 2,000 gold advantage.
Yeah, that's finally the first break in this matchup, but this is very similar to what we saw in the last game. GankStars, as soon as they started getting some kills, they started looking good. They got to maintain focus this round.
Yeah, and this time around, it looks like they're doing very, very well for themselves. About 3,000 gold, they bring down a turret. They're doing quite well for themselves. And right now, the main thing to look out for is, will GankStars Series be able to engage? Will Team SoloMid be able to just stay back and poke with that Scarf?
Well, Fuji has now that reflex block, same there with Iraqi Zoro. We have some minion candies for Vs.Vizzle. We've actually seen this a few times in the tournament. It's not a lot, but wow, a nice double stun there with that Death from Above. Vs.Vizzle can't go too much farther into this, though. He is going to be dropping low. You do not want to be kited into Cole the Meek or Mixie with those Spitfires, but, again, looks like GankStars is going to be able to push up forward a little bit. We stopped the back there from Flash. Fuji going to swag a little bit there, but ultimately the teams will just bounce, and looks like an invade now.
Yeah, this is a really good opportunity for GankStars right now. They know that Team SoloMid, all the members are fairly low. Cole Meek is going to be able to heal up quite quickly with that Serpent's Mask. However, this gives an opportunity for GankStars Series to just walk all over the side of Team SoloMid's jungle.
All right, now this is a decision that I've actually seen on Scarf at least one more time here in this tournament. It's not going to be a Frostburn first. Oh, Flash, he's going to have actually that escape cut off, but he does seem to eke out right there at that turret. Doesn't get stunned, doesn't go down. Okay, I thought that might have been a gauntlet for a moment. That would have been a little bit scary here for GankStars, but Vs.Vizzle again, he's looking a little bit low. Fuji does get hit by that gauntlet. Wait for it, goes out. Cole the Meek, he's looking for that kill, but the Dragon's Breath is enough. That's it for 1 and 2. Vs.Vizzle has to just run his little tush off because he could be the ace, and now he gets slowed down. Mixi there is looking for that cutoff. They don't even need it. That is now the reverse ace with Team SoloMid taking it.
And that was some serious overextension coming out from the Vs.GankStars series. They stayed around a little bit too long. They allowed Team SoloMid to go back. They allowed them to shop. They allowed them to heal up. And that means that even though GankStars series looked like they were ahead in gold, they had not bought any time recently. And that just completely changed the fight.
I'd rather have 2,000 gold worth of items rather than 2,000 gold in my pocket. And, you know, it goes a long way. A lot of damage now on top of this turret. And Fuji, he's looking for Mixi. He does have that Frostburn. Remember, death from above, not quite hitting the mark. But Fuji, with that Suri Strike, he's looking to bring down Mixi right into the middle of those minions. Doesn't matter. He will get a little bit of vengeance. But at the same time, the space created. Team SoloMid takes a decent gold payout. TSM still come out ahead on that one.
And this is exactly what Mixi is just saying, completely worth, because even though he went down, his team was able to get so much gold for themselves, and right now, though, Flash X is getting caught.
Looking for those target locks, get that movement speed here from Fuji, but you know, Flash is a bit of a slippery character with that Arden. Instead, they're going to settle now to take away the farm here and come out a little bit farther ahead, and they need every coin that they can. They're only 500 gold in the lead.
And right now, Team SoloMid is taking advantage of the double minion mine. They are able to push down a turret, and right now, GankStars Series, they are on the chase, but I don't know if they're going to be able to catch anyone.
They're only 400 gold in the lead. That turret putting a little bit more cash in their pockets. Now these back spawning up as well. If Cole takes them both, takes one, looks, gets the other as well. Okay, I lied. Rakizora picks up one, but now could we have actually waited a little bit too long? A good silence, the reflex block though, and Cole, they're actually playing Ring Around the Rosie here. Death from above says you gotta come back and invade, and now Cole, he is finally gonna drop. In Flash, he's gonna go over the wall with the gauntlet. He is really just tying these guys up.
Yeah, and right now he's just buying time for Mixi to push to lane just in a little bit more. And though that means Mixi's not going to be able to take the turret, Fuji's taking quite a bit of damage. Flaxnest is almost certainly going to drop anytime soon. Come on, anytime now. There you go. All right, Fuji, his team picks up the kill. Rakizoro gets another one on the board for himself. Mixi in the meantime, just picking up some farm. Scaling into that late game Scarf is going to be very, very dangerous.
That's something to be said about Arden players. We've actually seen this VIPL, VGLs, anytime that Sky will run out of energy, he has a heck of a time, especially Crystal Skies. Weapon Skies, not so much, but Crystal Skies have a hard time taking down Ardens. And at the same time, Gabe Vizzle doesn't have any damage either. That's why he lasted so long. If Araki was there from the start and he didn't kind of just go off on his own, would have been a faster kill for sure.
Yeah, and right now Fuji is about to push up the lane just a little bit with his teammates trailing right behind him. Let's see if another fight breaks up pretty soon. Looks like both teams are looking to do something on the map.
So again, something I wanted to bring up earlier, Mixi, not a Frostburn first. He does have you know, now an Eve of Harvest, but he did go for the Broken Myth first. This is not Frostburn. This is not a little bit more control that we do typically see on these dragons.
Yeah, he's definitely trying to take a lot of damage to the side GankStars Series, and right now we see another engage.
And another silence. Cole the Meek, though, he's trying to block it. Oh, that's going to be the stun. Well played there from Fuji with that death from above. Now they're going to be in that coop, but this is not enough to keep Mixi going. Or is it? Well, no, it's definitely not. He just gets rushed under that turret. Dragon's Breath or no. This is a team that knows how to go under those turrets and juggle that aggro.
Yeah, another great team fight coming out from the side GankStars Series. Even though they went down a little bit in the last one, now they are turning things around. They're going to be able to pick up this gold mine, and the minion candy is coming out to help push a little bit more.
Again, we've seen it like 1 or 2 games here this entire weekend. It's not something that we see a lot of anymore. We don't really see a lot of candies since the changes to the gold mine back in, what was it, 113, that you cannot take ownership anymore?
Right. And right here, we do see Gabriel. He has the Eyes Paladin. It's going to be very, very effective against Kolomeek. Kolomeek will jump in. He's going to try to get those Heartthrob stacks. And if he is not able to get the 5 of them, he's not going to be able to go for those executes. However, Mixi on the back line, he has a Broken Myth. He has Eve of Forest. However, if he gets jumped on, he is going to die extremely quickly.
Which we did see there. It wasn't enough with the Dragon's Breath with that Eve of the Harvest. And, well, all right, so where do we stand then? 9 kills to 3. It's really not that different of a game, though. 1,500 between the teams. There's a lot of momentum here for GankStars Series, but we saw that before. TSM could still very well come back into this.
Yeah, look at Flash X's inventory. He has 6 flares guns for himself. He's going to be able to check every single bush. However, he can just face check. Just, you know, he's Arden. He can do whatever he wants.
You can face check, you can flare. He's going to use that flare. He has that Warhorn there as well. There's a lot of options for that front line, and checking it with your face. He used the Warhorn just to make sure he could do that, but he does put it into a ward. So again, GankStars, they're really trying to make sure that they're the ones that get the favorable engage.
Yeah, right now GankStars Series might be outmaneuvering TSM, taking a little damage. Kolomeek uses the Rose Fence to get out of there, and that means one charge of the ultimate is down.
Yeah, but that's all they did get out of it. Now, forward barrage comes up extremely quick, but still, TSM, they're going to make their exit. Again, not a huge difference when it comes to some of this gold. That's an infusion on Arden.
And this is the exact play that TSM almost always goes for. Hit the 15-minute mark, buy the infusions on a ton of members of your team, and go for a fight. Because if you win it, you get Kraken, you get some turrets, and it just completely helps you snowball the game.
Well, actually, all three members of their team do have infusions. We don't have any right now for GankStars. It's actually double, I believe, on that Black Feather. We do got the Crystal there on top of Mixia, yeah, and now Flash with that weapon. Kraken is here, 43 seconds in, and GankStars, are they actually going to be able to get into this one? We put up that barrier, but it is going to be good for TSM. Now, can they live through this fight? Gabefizzle is there and trying to keep that Flash from going anywhere, but still, we're trying to jump on top of Fuji. Still, Mixia into the back, he gets off the breath, Fuji's gonna burn, and now Gabe and Araki are not looking so hot. Koldamik is right there, and Gabe is gonna drop. Araki jumps into the puddle. This is a TSM ace and a Kraken.
And will this be a TSM special? They have gotten the ace, they have gotten the Kraken, and that was such a good fight coming out from their entire team. How many turrets will they be able to take down? I'm expecting 2 or 3. That's gonna swing the gold completely in the side of Team SoloMid.
Again and again, we see the very big importance of infusions, especially when it comes to these mid games, especially with these Krakens. It wasn't quite the special since they already had, you know, those level 11 fusions that you can see on Koldamik. He's had them for a while, but they do pay off.
Yeah, and once again, the Kraken will give out 500 gold to each member of the GankStars Series side, so the gold lead will still go to GankStars Series. However, Team SoloMid just doing extremely well for themselves, bringing this to a mid to late game. Scarf is going to become a huge threat. Koldamik is already a huge threat, and right now, GankStars Series, they need to figure out something to do right now.
All right, 10-6 for the score. Sirius is, I mean, they're still into this. With that Kraken going down, gold is basically dead even, and a ton of infusions are coming out from both sides now. Everybody is getting those level 12s ready to go. Gabe, unfortunately, is a little bit behind the curve. He's still 11, but still, he does have the double.
Yeah, and right now, it looks like the next fight may determine the series. The next fight might determine the game, and right now, it looks like TSM is weighing in a bush.
All right, TSM, as you said, Bush Party could be commencing right here and now. Gabefizzle gets the puppies out, but he's already down half. The puppies are down, but still, wait for it. It's going to be good. Death from Bob, not going to hit, but Cole is really low. Flash now is taking up a lot of this forward barrage, and now Araki, he's getting focused down. Flash is trying to, with Mixia, and they get him, but they do trade out. Cole won the 1v1 in the back, and now Gabe, he can't bring him down. Mixia will be the big survivor, but Cole, from the brink of death, gets the ace.
And this is almost certainly at least one turret. It might be a game. Let's see. How far will TSM push this ace?
Well, I mean, they're really going to go for it. And the damage from this Scarf, again, the more powerful he gets, the longer this game goes, he can absolutely clear these waves. And that does apply to turrets. They get the one. We got 8 seconds or so they got to make this exit now. But Mixia is also going to take out this wave. And that will be a heck of a push now coming in up against GankStars. It's going to keep them in their base.
And this has got to be weighing on GankStars' minds. They were doing so well for themselves. They're taking fights. They're taking gold mines. And now TSM is on the front foot.
All right, Araki has to clean up those ace-buffed minions. You just cannot let them go right to that last standing turret. And that Kraken is not going to be far off from spawn. Another one for TSM could actually bring this from a 1-0 to a 3-1 win.
Yeah, it would be really awesome to see if TSM can do the clean sweep, the 3-1, starting 1 game down in this series, and still taking it to a 3-game sweep.
Still, score is 11-9, and now, again, there's the Kraken. Gold is even. This is still anybody's game. These fights are going fast and furious. Now, the last 2, the momentum is building. SoloMid's got to be feeling good. Maybe they're going to pick up, Mixia refreshes that infusion. Doesn't have enough for a weapon, but everybody, you can see these 12s across the board, and again, 11s for Gabe.
Yeah, and right now the main thing is Ash X, he still has a ton of flares in his inventory. There's absolutely no threat from the side of GankStars Series of doing the Kraken, because Flash X, he just constantly throws flares out, make sure he casts vision on the side of GankStars Series, and GankStars Series, they have to fight.
All the ultimates are ready to go. Is Gabe going to be looking for this engage? It's kind of gone a little bit more unfavorable for him now, so it's going to back off. The team's going to regroup. Remember, Gabe, if he wants to go for this next fight, he has to get some cash. There we go, a little bit of that Iron God coming into it. He can get 1 infusion for this one, but he is a little bit low on funds to pick up the double.
Yeah, and right now...
He's not even getting it. He's getting the ward. He's getting the flares.
Yeah, flares is going to be extremely important, making sure they keep track of the side of Team SoloMid. However, Mixi, he picks up a weapon fusion for himself on that Scarf. He's going to do a little bit more damage. He's going to be a little bit tankier. And right now, the main threat, though, is Cole. Cole is doing so much damage to the backline of GankStars Serious. And here we go.
The Warhorn from nowhere, and coming into that is going to be that Gauntlet. Here's the Dragon's Breath as well, but as their damage going down, you bet there is. GankStars is looking low. All three of them are on the verge of death. Can they bring down Cole? No, yes, finally. Fuji could actually even take that flash. He will get the double, but can he outrun against Mixi? Mixi gets stunned up, and Fuji is trying his best, but it's not going to be enough. Mixi will take that ace, but a 2 for 3. He can't solo Kraken with that, can he?
He might be able to, and right there, that was such a good engage coming out from the side of Team SoloMid. He is going for the Kraken. He's almost certainly going to take us up. He has the Eve of Hearts. He will be tanky enough, or will he? We'll see. We'll see very, very soon. He's doing a good amount of damage. It's going to be very, very close.
He has that Eve.
But the great thing in that fight, Flash X coming out of nowhere with that Warhorn, they get the perfect engage. They catch almost every single member of GankStars Serious off guard, but still, trading 3 for 2, not too bad for the side of GankStars Serious.
I'm not entirely confident that Mixi has this.
Mixi?
It's a bit heartbreaking, but he doesn't have it. He's just going to take the consolation prizes into this jungle. No Kraken for Sirius to deal with yet, but again, a lot of emphasis on these infusions. Gabe Vizzle now has it this round. Lots of level 12s. Everybody's refreshing. A lot of people here are at kind of, their full power, their final form. And these fights, again, it's very hard to tell who's going to come out on top.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing, will GankStars Serious be able to catch TSM off guard next time around? Because I think this comes down to who engages first. The team that engages is the team that will win.
You never really expect, you're up in that lane, it's a big, wide open expanse, and just all of a sudden Flash X comes charging out with a gauntlet on top of it. Can they use that shock factor again? Flash X is by himself, they do get the gauntlet out, and that is a big cooldown now wasted for these next set of fights.
And this is really, really good for us at GankStars Serious. They might be able to bring this to a last game, and this is going to be huge because that gauntlet is a huge part of TSM's engagement tools.
Is TSM rushing for base?
They very well may be. This is the best opportunity for them to go for it. Right now, GankStars Serious, they might be going for the Kraken. However, this is going to be interesting because GankStars Serious, they can actually finish off the Kraken, or they might go cut him off.
They did so much damage to it. Now, the TSM's actually going to force their hand.
That was amazingly played by TSM. They call the bluff, and GankStars Serious, they are going in. They are going into the base. How the gauntlet is still down.
They got the stun on top of Cole. Fuji's going into the back. Flash is kind of left to his own devices. He does have a fountain ticking. Cole is actually really low. Fuji comes across the wall with that Suri strike. Flash is now separated from Mixi, and GankStars take a 2-0. Looking for a third death from above. It's overdriven. It's ready to go again. They get the 3-0. Now, they could actually finally win a game in this series.
And this could very well be the game. They can take a turret. They can make 2 turrets. After they take the 2, they can back off, get the Kraken, and go for the game-ending push.
It's not quite the TSM special with a Kraken into 4, but yeah, if you can take down these turrets and set yourself up, this is a lot of momentum for GankStars. The gold at this point is irrelevant. It's pretty much just straight up infusions, but the pressure and the power of a Kraken at 23 minutes in could still put a point on the board.
All right, not going for the third turret. However, they will be able to take down this Kraken very, very easy. Team SoloMid will not be able to spawn in time, and this can completely swing the tide of this game.
I gotta say, Fuji on this guy had a little bit of reservation in the beginning, but he's ended up 8-4-8, and he has been making some of these plays. He's been a big focus target. He's danced around the battlefield very nicely, and as we saw in that last fight, he made that ace happen.
Yeah, right now it looks like this might be the ending push for GankStars Serious. How many turrets can they take? Will TSM be able to defend? We'll find out very, very soon. And right now, Gabe Vizzle, he has a ton of flares. He has the Warhorn. He has all his activatables up, and on the other side, so does Flash. So it's going to be a very, very interesting battle.
Now remember, the big difference between this upcoming battle and the last one was there was no gauntlet for Flash X. He already used it for an escape when that 1v3 did happen. This time, it's everything is at full power. All the ultimates are ready to go. Flash is ready to go. Everybody has the double infusions.
However, one thing to watch out for is Gabe Vizzle, he has the Crucible. Flash X does not.
It's going to be a big opportunity, especially timed well, but that turret just gets absolutely melted. Look at the power of Mixi, though. He has really brought down this Kraken. Kraken gets a Warhorn. Here comes the puppies. The gauntlet is up. They are going to try to take down this Kraken before it can do irreversible damage. Now we got a double stun from Fuji and Gabe as they try to engage off of that, but the turret is still going down. Kraken is done, though. Flash, he's going to be a little bit low, but now Mixi, he's going forward. The Dragon's Breath, lots of reflex blocks coming in. You can see the damage starting to mount up, but TSM's getting turned on. The death from above, you can't go that way. away, and now Flash, could he actually drop? Fuji will do it with the Suri Strike. He doesn't quite find Cole, but now Gabe is going to be jumping in. They're juggling this at turret aggro, and you can see the Suri Strikes. Fuji really wants a kill.
And right now, GankStars, they have to get out of here. If they stay too long, TSM can completely turn this
That
fight
hit
around.
Fuji hasn't used that, has to use the free flex, but it's in Cole to make for a double.
And this is absolutely crazy. Team SoloMid, they might not be able to end the game, but they will go for it. They're able to push this lane down. They might be able to take down another turret before GankStars spawns.
You got 45 seconds to make this happen. Iraqi is the lone defender, still has those infusions, but as you said, they had to get out of dodge. Fuji just perhaps a little bit too greedy at the end there. They had that turret, they had already pushed off TSM, and the damage they took was immense.
Yeah, the bloodlust was definitely in their eyes. They had the turret down. They wanted the kills. They wanted to close the game and take it to another game 5. However, going a little bit over aggressive, and they may pay for it.
Now they're going to keep Iraqi in the bag. I think I saw minion candies on those.
Yeah, this should be really interesting. We do not actually have a minion candy right quite yet. Iraqi Zoro doing what he can. He's trying to stall again out, pulling the minion wave away from his turret. So a really, really smart defense by Iraqi Zoro.
And he's going to pay for it with about half of his life, but still the turret will stand. 1 second, there we go. The rest of everyone is up. Everybody is back into the fold, and this game is going to continue for now. 17-14, and the 26-minute mark. I think this is now our VGL Championship longest game.
Yeah, and right here, the Kraken will completely determine the outcome of this game. Whoever gets the Kraken, if they don't get ace, if they are able to push alongside Kraken, will definitely take the game.
Mixi actually just picks up an Aegis as well as a ton of infusions. We'll have to see if that little bit of extra shield goes into the difference between life and death, but GankStars, they're setting up. There's still a lot of flares. Kraken back onto the fold. Whoever gets it is very likely to take the game at this point. And Gabe Fizzle, he's going to be jumping in. There's the one stun on Fuji with that gauntlet. Gabe Fizzle, however, is not dropping that low yet. He's down to about half, but Flash is faring just a bit better. They're still looking for that kill. Here comes the Dragon Red. The game is dropping. Fuji, the area of effect damage is going to take Iraqi as well, and Fuji, he still might be able to run for it, but he is going to drop, and TSM take this series 3-0 after coming into it down 1.
And so well played by TSM. They were down for so much of that game, but GankStars Series making a crucial mistake at the very last moment. TSM gonna take down this last turret. They are going to take down the Vein Crystal, and they are going to take this series 3-0.
No wonder these teams are world class. That is one of the closest games I have ever witnessed, and TSM has got to be feeling good about overcoming their journey through the lower bracket into the semifinals. 3-0, their longtime opponents and rivals, and now it's the rematch, them versus Velocity in the finals.
Yeah, that's going to be a very interesting one to see again. They brought it to a third game last time around, and Velocity, they came out on top that time. However, will TSM, they put in a lot of practice over the night, and it could be very, very interesting to see.
I cannot imagine what's going through the head right now of GankStars. I mean, just such close games. And, I mean, Iraqi Zoro looks pretty happy.
Yeah, Iraqi Zoro